The Joe Rogan Experience.
Chris Rock got so big for a while that I think people stopped paying the respect he deserved.
100%.
And when he got COVID, I realized how important Chris Rock was to me. Because I think Norm had just passed, and I was the biggest Norm fan in the world. And then Chris Rock got sick, and I did like a deep dive on my own head of like just how fucking great that guy is.
Well, if you go back to like Bigger and Blacker, or you go back to
Bring the Pain.
Those are two of the best specials of all time. Like if you want to look at your top 10 comedians of all time, in my opinion, you have to have Chris Rock in there.
Without a doubt. There's no questions about it.
You know who's the dark horse?
Hold on. Give me a second. I have a lot of dark horses, but I don't know.
Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence in the 1990s.
So.
People forgot. You Must Be Crazy?
Dude.
Or You So Crazy, rather? You So Crazy, and he had like a couple other specials that were on that same level. He had like 2 or 3 specials that were like lightning bolts. And it's hard because you got to compare them for the time. Like comedy's a weird thing, man. Like even like comedy movies from the 80s or 90s that you thought were the shit, some of them just don't hold up for whatever reason. And stand-up comedy, a lot of it just seems different because the culture's so different, because the world's so, like, everything's evolving and changing so fast. It's hard. But there's a few guys from the 1990s that would just obliterate. Like, you forgot how good comics can be. And I remember I saw Martin Lawrence at the Comedy Store many times, like 7, 10 times when he was in his prime. Somewhere around then, I remember he would come by and just sell out the main room, and you would just sit there and watch him murder. I mean murder. Like
I wish
people
I'd seen that.
Falling out of chairs. I mean screaming in agony because they're laughing so hard. And it was, this was 1994. Martin Lawrence was the king, dude. I'm telling you.
The thing that Chris Rock brought, and once again, I'm.
But hold on, let me to tell you something before we go any further.
Yeah.
One of the things that happened to Chris Rock was he had to follow Martin Lawrence.
At the store?
No, they did a show together. And Chris Rock talked about it. He talked about it, how it forced him to tighten up his act because he had to follow Martin Lawrence. And he realized, no disrespect intended, white people, he realized that he said that he'd been playing at too many white rooms. And he realized like he had gotten like a little bit lazy or maybe a little slower than he should be. Whatever. He had to develop a style that maybe wasn't. He saw Martin crush, and then he had a hard time after him.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get some of the greatest Chris Rock performances of all time. After that, you get Bring the Pain. After that, you get Bigger and Blacker. After that, you get some of the greatest bits ever. So he saw, like we all, like every time you've bombed, how many times, here it goes right here. He goes, one night in Chicago, as usual, I was the headliner, and on this night, my opening act was an up-and-coming comic named Martin Lawrence. Now, normally, I never used to watch the opening acts, but I was in my dressing room and I heard a roar. I got up to see what was going on. I thought it was a fight or something, so I got up and went to the side of the stage. When I got there, I realized it wasn't a fight. It was people laughing so hard that the building was shaking. People were crying, standing, stomping their feet, screaming laughter. I was terrified. It was like watching somebody fucking your wife with a bigger dick. That's how good Martin Lawrence was. I followed Martin Lawrence almost every time I worked on a night with Martin Lawrence. Mitzi always made me follow Martin Lawrence. I never bombed harder in my life. With 3/4 of the audience is walking out as you're going on stage. I mean, 3/4. That's how good Martin Lawrence was in the 1990s. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, I would watch him and I was like, this guy is, like, he's hitting some crazy RPMs. You know, if you have like a sports car, like 8,000 RPMs is crazy. Some of them go to 9. Someone's like, and then you're like, how long can you go at that RPM? Like Martin Lawrence was on this wild RPM where he was crushing so hard, but then he had a bunch of issues, and then he had a show, Martin, and then he had a bunch of issues. You know, he had like a breakdown, right? Remember that?
I do.
But I think a lot of that comes
or something.
No. I mean, maybe I don't know about that.
He had a stroke in a sweatsuit or something.
No. I think he had like some sort of a manic attack, and he got arrested for wearing like a sweatsuit. No, it was like a
Fell into a
wetsuit.
coma.
He
He had
fell
a
into a
stroke. He had a
coma
stroke.
Heat exhaustion
from heat exhaustion.
for preparing for Big Mama's house.
So he was losing weight? Is that what he was doing with the
Said he
wetsuit
almost
on?
died. He had to go on a ventilator.
Jesus
For real?
Christ. But then they think that he had some episode? Am I making
Well, his
that up?
body temperature went up to 107 degrees, so something that could have.
No, I mean like a mental episode.
Oh, I mean that made him think that was a good idea to do. Maybe I think. Was
I don't
what
want
they
to
were
judge
saying.
him. Maybe
Yeah,
we
I
got
don't
to
know.
edit this. Shit!
Martin Lawrence
much
was,
editing.
See, my thing with Martin Lawrence is that Martin Lawrence seemed like someone that is a God gift to him, right? Like the guy
Well,
was just meant to
he
entertain.
was super duper talented, but he also worked really hard, man.
But it's the thing with a guy like Martin Lawrence or Jay-Z.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they work hard. Or Richard Pryor seems like, or Eddie Griffin seems like it just is what they do. You know?
Well, it's that too. You know, there's a lot of those just what they do guys that never get to that level. Like, what separates a guy like that, you know, from a guy who's just a funny dude that we all know, that we hang around with at the store? There's always a guy who's just like really good, and they go on stage and they're really good, but they never figure out how to like get to a place like those guys. Like, what's the difference?
Well, the difference for me, I mean, I know for a fact my difference is when I saw Chris Rock and he talked about how he trained for a special, I was like, oh yeah, that's.
Oh, he would bring in comics and pay them to watch his set and give him notes. Like he was working in collaboration with other people where he's like, he had like a group of peers and he would throw his ideas at them and say, you know, like, what do you think about
DePaulo, maybe?
It's a brilliant DePaulo, Rich Voss, Richard Jenny was a big one.
There was a thing that happened.
Oh, it
That
says
sounds- yeah.
Lawrence ran into traffic in Los Angeles screaming and acting like a madman. That's what I remember.
loaded
Okay,
firearm?
according to,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. Big Mama's house actor also had a loaded firearm in his possession. Lawrence was removed from the scene by law enforcement and hospitalized. Martin was yelling, fight you know, don't give up, fight the power, or something like that. A witness told K-Cow. He was shouting some obscenities or something. Maybe he's just doing his act. Maybe he's working on a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm a Martin Lawrence fan up and down.
Listen, dude, I'm telling you, I am too, but I just think it's hard to be that good. I think there's something about being that good as a guitarist or something to be about good as a tennis player or a bike rider, whatever the fuck you are. I was just talking to a friend of mine about Tour de France and about Lance Armstrong, like how crazy you have to be that good. Like to be that good against other people who are just like you. Like you have to be so goddamn driven that you're better than all these other insanely driven motherfuckers. Like you're dealing with like insane RPMs, man.
Fucking insane.
Insane. Watch the entire episode for free only on Spotify.